I feel as if we are coming to the end of the road in terms of Travis Hunter being a two-way player. I feel as if they're going to ask, or somebody's going to determine, not ask, they're going to determine whether or not Travis Hunter is going to play fully offensively or fully defensively, because quite frankly, I don't think it's working.
Look at the release.
There's your separation.
Great route.
Stutter and go. Gets by clean.
That is unbelievable.
Maybe the greatest catch I've ever seen.
He's like an average player now, both ways, instead of being a special player on one side of the football. So I think I think they want to try it out. I think we're 3 games in. I'm not sure how much more appetite they have to try it out with Travis Hunter.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but I think I see this completely differently than you. So this will be a good discussion. The one thing I would agree is that the results being a two-way player have been like mid at best, right, for Travis Hunter to through 3 weeks. But through 3 weeks is an important designation here. It is very, very early, and I think that, okay, so again, one thing I would disagree with you is that I think he's actually been a really good cornerback. I think his cornerback reps have been very good. He had a couple of really impressive wins against Nico Collins last week, and like that's what you want. You want a cornerback that can go up against one of the top 5 receivers in the NFL and Nico Collins and give him a couple of good runs. Now, there's been other times where he's gotten got at cornerback, but guess what? Every cornerback gets got. We were talking about Quentin Johnston on the last episode getting got a couple times by Patrick Surtain, or Patrick Surtain getting got by Quentin Johnston. It happens, right? And like QJ obviously has made the 3rd-year leap, but I mean, still that's the best cornerback in the league. He's going to give up plays. Xavier Legette scored a touchdown on Patrick Surtain last season. Like every cornerback gives up plays. So I think actually Travis Hunter, the cornerback, has certainly been better than Travis Hunter, the wide receiver, so far.
That's fair.
Which, look, I am concerned. I don't want to say I'm concerned, but the Travis Hunter like wide receiver stuff in terms of him hitting the peak of the player that like is outlined in his reception perception profile. I am concerned that we never get that guy if he is going to be a two-way player, because it's just, and maybe I didn't give this enough credit during the prospect profiling and stuff like that. Although we always did talk about the fact that he's going to be a two-way player. At least for me, I always say he's going to try to be a two-way player because that's what he's wanted. That's what he wants to do, and I think that's still the intent here. And I thought a couple of these comments from Liam Cohen were telling today. Okay. He was asked at a press conference. I tweeted out the video. People can go check it out. But Mia O'Brien covers the team. She tweeted this quote out that Liam Cohen, he said that injuries at wide receiver and or cornerback are not going to affect Travis Hunter's usage. He is playing just one position, which on offense at wide receiver is the F. It's the slot receiver, and one at cornerback. And then they will build more in years to come. An injury at wide receiver or cornerback equals the next receiver or cornerback steps in, i.e. Parker Washington playing more wide receiver when De'Ami Brown went down, which is what happened last week. The one thing I would say is that that kind of wasn't true in week 2 when they had an injury on cornerback and he played many more snaps at corner in week 2 than he did in week 1. But let's just say for a second that's 100% true. The thing that really stands out to me is the part of the quote that stands out to me is will build more in years to come. So I saw that, and then I saw a video that Josh Norris posted, and I think this gives really good context. Just a couple of quotes from that one. Again, right now he is playing one position on offense, which is the slot. It's the F receiver. He's not going to suddenly, like, one guy gets hurt, now we're going to throw him out at X, we're going to throw him out at Z or whatever, or he's going to play 2 receiver sets and 12 personnel. They're just having him focus on this one wide receiver position. And then a reporter asked, so after the season, that's when he'll spread his wings on offense. And Liam said, yeah, probably. He just doesn't think it's fair. He doesn't think it's fair right now to overload him with multiple wide receiver positions. In addition to his cornerback work, he's got to master this F receiver position first. So I just think, like, for 2025, we might I don't think we're going to see Travis Hunter unleashed on offense. I think he he and the team believe that in time he can become a two-way player where he's an impactful player on offense and on defense. And I think that's the vision. That's what he said. He said he would retire prior to being drafted. He said he would retire. He'd quit football if somebody tried to make him just play on one side. Like, I think this is the goal. So it's just a completely unique situation. And I don't think he's played perfect in isolation so far. I think he's actually shown a pretty good feel for zone coverage, and which is what you want out of your slot-based player. But there have been some not so great reps against man coverage. I talked about that in the week 2 charting notebook. Yeah. He's just getting used to running routes at the NFL level, and he has not been, he's not been great, but I think he's been fine. And I think they do want to grow from there. So that was sort of my takeaway seeing this today, that like this, it's a reminder that this is a long-term project player. And even if I graded this guy as the best receiver in this class, even if I graded this guy as an incredible player in reception perception, that does not mean that 3 games into his NFL career, where he is he's also taking snaps on defense and trying to be a two-way player, he's immediately going to be that good. If he's going to do that, I'm kind of skeptical that he's going to be able to do it if he's a two-way player at all, period. Yeah. But if he is, it's certainly going to take time. And I think the comments by Liam Cohen kind of indicate that as well.
I think we have spent too much time thinking about Travis Hunter physically being able to do a two-way spot in the NFL, and not enough time at all talking about the mental gymnastics that it takes to be a two-way player. I don't think and again, we've heard a lot of Travis Hunter, conversation, and very rarely did we ever talk about, like, is he going to be able to mentally handle learning the playbook on both sides of the football field? Mm-hmm. You got to learn the playbook on the offensive side, then you got to learn the playbook on the defensive side. Like, that's a lot of playbook. That is a lot of playbook for one young man to learn. And I think anyone who watched Colorado last year knows that I don't think they had the most complex offensive playbook in college football either, right? So Liam Cohen, I think, is coming in with a pretty complex playbook. In regards to what he said there, though, Matt, I would offer a slight counterpoint to that. And I think you have talked me off the ledge of, like, potentially, seeing Travis Hunter play one way. That being said, coaches have a funny way of talking. They're like, all right, we want to expand him. This reminds me of, like, when KOC's like, I want to get Justin Jefferson more slot reps, and he actually played less slot reps. But it just ended up being that his slot reps that he did play were more impactful. Right. So coaches have a funny way of thinking about this. I almost wonder if when Liam Cohen is talking about this, is he talking about, okay, we're going to get more packages for Travis Hunter where he can be more impactful on the limited number of plays that he does play on the offensive side of the football. And he has to then, again, master those small package of plays versus, hey, man, this is the full playbook. Like, when we call this, you're going to be, you know what I mean? Like, I would have some questions in regards to usage even there.
When we talk about guys like Jaden Reed, we talk about guys like Josh Downs, we talk about guys like Khalil Shakir. Those are guys who are, whether right or wrong, right? And we can say that we think that Jaden Reed could play more outside or Josh Downs could play more outside, right or wrong. Their teams view them as that F receiver position primarily, the slot primarily. So then they're not on the field. And I don't think Travis Hunter's route participation is going to go up anytime soon. Just like we have for years been like, is Jaden Reed's route participation going to go up? And then it doesn't. Mm-hmm. But Josh Downs this year, we're going to talk about Michael Pittman in a later segment. Like, he's got his role, and then the other guys have their role, right?
Yeah, right.
And the Jags are also dealing with stuff. We have a video on YouTube about this. We talk about this on the podcast. They got another thing going on with their number one wide receiver right now that they're working through. Like, there's a lot going on. And you did make one, before I get back to that, you did make one really good point about this is a complicated offense. Like, we talk about all the fun stuff, the motions, the shifts, and the pre-snap, like motion of the snap, all that stuff. And that stuff is actually clearly in place in this offense. The Jaguars also are getting banged with a ton of illegal shifts this year. Travis Hunter has had at times issues knowing when to line up or when to execute that motion. This stuff is all, and I think the Jags offense is really well designed. I think Cohen's doing a good job from a design perspective. The run game looks good, all that stuff. But this stuff's all a lot easier to do when you have two big boy veterans in Tampa Bay in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin that are like pros. They've been around the block. They played with friggin' Tom Brady. They're on their details, right? So I think that has been a work in progress for BTJ and definitely Travis Hunter. So that's another reason why this is a long-term thing. And then the last point here is also Travis Hunter, again, obviously awesome reception perception profile. But if you listen to the podcast, I said he's an elite separator. And I think you've seen some of that in his rookie season, but he's not yet an elite route runner. Like that's from the technical side of things, right? Where he ran a very stripped down route tree in Colorado. He ran only as a, kind of on outside player on the line of scrimmage in that 1 year. And he never played wide receiver he never practiced at wide receiver. He practiced with the DBs. He just kind of went out there and they told him the plays. So this is a long-term, I know it is. And it is insane that he was a 97th percentile success rate versus zone coverage player. While all that's what made me so optimistic. And I'm still optimistic about him as a wide receiver, but I just think that I am kind of tamping back expectations a little bit based on those comments, at least for this year. And then we'll revisit the Travis Hunter experience in 26 and 27 and kind of as they continue to feel this thing out, because I think, and maybe honestly, just to be transparent and be open about it, maybe I definitely know other people did this. And I think maybe I did this too, kind of put the blinders on about just what his offensive impact would be. And because they kept saying it, right? They kept saying oh, he's going to be an 80% player on offense, this, that, and the other. And I think we get into the season and it's a little more difficult than maybe they thought. So, and maybe I thought maybe more difficult than I gave it credit for too. So I'm not coping or, whatever about Hunter's slow start to the season. I just think it's important to not get locked into a take and keep hammering that. And so this is these are a lot of the things I'm thinking about and some of the contextual reasons why I'm kind of I don't know if we're going to get anything, not anything, but big moments out of Hunter or big games consistently out of him based on the first 3 weeks and sort of some of these comments today. I just think that's worth thinking about.